So, problem I'm having with this vehicle, and it's kind of specific to a Bravada, but not exactly. The rear defroster illumination, the dash, when you turn the dash lights on, when you turn the lights on at night, you know, your little lights come on for illumination, the light is out. When you press the button, it turns on the way it's supposed to, but at night, you can't see the button where to press. So that's been bothering me for a while. So what I've decided to do is to tear it apart. Now, I've already tore this apart once and messed with another bulb and didn't have a lot of success with it, but now I figured out the problem, got the right bulb, and now I'm going to replace the bulb in here. Before you even attempt to do this, you're going to have a soldering iron. You're going to need to solder and kind of know what you're doing. You don't have to be a skilled solderer by any means, but you need a soldering iron to be able to do this, because these bulbs are not regular bulbs that you can just unscrew in the back and screw back in. They are literally soldered to a board. And you know, you got to get this whole dash off and everything like that. It's basically snapped in with some screws. There's a screw here you remove. It is a 7mm screw. Remove the 7mm screw here. This piece will pull down. You don't need to pull it off, you just need to pull it down, get it out of the way, and then you have access to all the screws on the dash. And there's not very many holding this thing on, but they're hidden. So there's a little screw holding the dash on here, or the dash cover, a little screw holding it on here on this side, so each side of the steering wheel, and one up in here. So remove those 3 screws, and the rest of this thing will just snap right off and be out of the way. And then you'll have some screws in here that you can get to get this out. I believe they're 7mm as well. Pulls out, unclip it in the back, and now I'll show you the rest of the stuff you need to do for the soldering. All right, I have the HVAC control module, and so I've completely disassembled the unit. It's actually really easy to get to the part that I needed to get to. There's just 4 5mm screws. Is this 5mm? This is, what size? Oh, it's 5. It's a quarter. It's a quarter of an inch. Yeah. So it's a quarter of an inch. Take all the screws off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got the front panel off. Make sure you take the knobs off, otherwise you'll be fighting it all day long. And this little light bulb is burned out, so I'm going to desolder it. So I'm just going to get my little soldering iron out and go boop, boop on each side and go back and forth and pull the bulb out. And I got a replacement bulb. It's a Radio Shack bulb. Looked up some information on some random forums, and I'm pretty sure that it is whatever 2721154 is on this guy. And I'm going to solder it back in and see what happens. So I'm just going to go boop, boop, pull, boop, 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 and slowly kind of wedge it back and forth. Don't leave the soldering iron on, especially the soldering iron tip I have is for lead-free, so it's going to be a little hotter. I'm assuming this is lead solder because it's from 2000, or actually probably 1999. I'm going to pull it out, put the new one in, put a little bit of more solder on it, just a tiny bit, and put it in the vehicle and see what happens. Okay, here I am going to sit in the vehicle. I'm going to turn the headlights on. I can do 12 volts on the bench and test that these work, but they were acting funny when I was doing that with these rear bulbs when I was experimenting changing them on another unit. So I'm just going to be safe and plug it directly into the vehicle, turn the headlights on, and look at that. All the lights are now on. Yes, so all the lights for the controls and all the lights for the push buttons are now illuminated. I obviously did it this way because during the day you can't see if these are working at all. So there we go. Just going to put the unit back together and it's done. So here it is with all the lights installed. It's not completely dark, but you get the idea. What I mainly wanted to show you is this is the replacement bulb, and you can tell it's a tiny bit brighter. So it's not an exact one-for-one replacement. The wattage is a little bit higher on this one, but it works. And sometimes maybe you would want them all brighter. But if you get them too bright, that creates more heat, and more heat can make plastic melt.